Alrighty, this is P.O.C. This is, again, psychopathic pacing, which Paul Leon is engaged in while City of Ontario vehicles are a part of the gang stalking on Euclid Avenue, which, by the way, where the government is engaging in surveillance and furtherance of murder on any state highway, on the US, on the roads and the highways, interstate commerce, that's a prosecution of the whole state, by the way. That's a prosecution of the whole state while the entity implicates interstate commerce. Number one. Number two, it is federal stalking under Title 18. And this is the entity that is, I want to make sure that this is clear. The entity is engaged in this because they don't want me to arrive anymore. That's part of the reason why. Because they are gang stalking, and it's because they're fearful. These are demons who are not all powerful. Those of you who are engaging in what is this pattern of conduct, who follow Satan and convinced you, lied to you, that Satan is some all-powerful God. No, he's not. These are pansies. And while pansies are engaging in federal offenses, these pansies are getting locked up. And it is a testimony to how weak Satan is. You're literally incriminating yourself, and they risk it because they're that scared of me. All right, and guess what? I'm still going to go because now I'm going to document all the gang stalkers while they're engaging in that pattern of conduct. That's what's going to happen now. The entity that is flying over any church, that church is engaging in the pattern of conduct. Flying over any venue, such as their homes, that the people in that venue are, and it is a venue because the government's flying over it, and that speaks to the whole city. They are engaging in that pattern of conduct. That's why the fake sun, the supernatural, is there. Okay, this is the POC. The entity is engaging in this conduct, and that's because they are engaging in surveillance, and they are aware, even though there's been no incident, there's been no circumstance where you're aware of me pulling out my phone like Rock of Faith admitted on video yesterday. All of a sudden, there's some circumstance, but I haven't even been there in over a month, number one. And number two, when I was there, I did not document, and that's already on the record. As of today, June 5th, 2026, you can look at prior to yesterday, and the time before that was when I showed up and no one was there, and I documented how that is also them targeting, just like today. This is targeting while they're switching the days where they're having the feeding. And you also know that it's targeting under also because look at who is here. Okay, it's merely engaging this conspicuously. This is what they're always doing when they're serving the meals, monitoring me, always, even when they hide the helicopter activity. Because all the homeless bums, they don't want to be here and getting all their license plates and you seeing them on video. It's too late. They might as well be here because they're all documented. It's the same group of demons that are homeless, that are gang stalking. And the homeless are going to federal prison. And so are those that are feeding the homeless while gang stalking me. And they're engaging in what is acts of terrorism and harassment while they're making admissions. Why are you targeting me and there has not been an incident here? It's because you are indeed targeting me. You know who I am, and you also know about the evidence that's on the internet, which is relevant to your being sentenced even longer. Okay? That's the pattern of conduct. Alrighty, I'm going to document. This is also evidence that everybody else knew. They don't send out emails, but everybody else knew, contrary to what was discussed. These volunteers are speaking of, oh, I'll see you on Friday. Sylvia, talking about being at the church. Sylvia is one of these gang stalkers that showed up at the laundromat that you also know is gang stalking me. This is documentation of the homeless community who are being prosecuted. And this is how the government is aiding in the government being prosecuted, because the people of the state are not private citizens. They're the entity. And that's why I'm subject to the pattern of conduct. And I don't go into any church where they're feeding the homeless where I'm not subject to that pattern of conduct. And they literally provide evidence about it, including when they are harassing for no reason whatsoever, because the entity is engaging in what is making false allegations, and you're also looking at the unreasonable behavior. If you don't know anything about what's going on, you're talking about, if it's just about the fact that I'm recording this person, you're not listening to the fact that he's threatening to call the police for, and I'm talking about yesterday at the other gang stalking venue, Rock of Faith. All right, this is Loaves and Fishes, the Methodist Church. And so the entity's engaging in what is making allegations. Oh, it's about this is because you're recording him right now. But if you listen to that older white male who is yelling, he is barking. He's growling at me. And he's in my face, and he also commits a battery. And he says, you have a thing, quote, with making people angry about this phone. And I've never talked to him about it, never had any incident. Don't pull out my phone at that church. And I haven't been there in over a month. This is an entity. All I'm doing is showing you, but you already know that this is the entity monitoring. I'm showing you how you are dissecting the facts while they make admissions, because they're demons that don't have any self-control, and they want me to just stop going. They just don't want me to go while they're gang stalking. And this is Eddie. Eddie's doing so because he is hostile. Pay attention to what was published today. April 25th, 2026. Yesterday, I finished April 24th. That demon is very fearful and aware that that's coming up next, where he's trying to lie and create a narrative, which you cannot do. Everybody knows that I'm not stealing anything, and I don't have to lie about stealing anything. I have wealth and assets that have been stolen from me, and I'm sleeping outside as an attorney, not because I'm some thief stealing from people that don't wash, stealing from drug addicts that are missing teeth. No, I don't think so. This is the entity that's engaged in that pattern of conduct, and he is doing so harassing pursuant to that P.O.C. Surveillance of evidence that's published on the internet, in concert with the homosexuals that are engaging in what are providing multi-levels of evidence against the people of the state who are facing their own prosecution. They're being prosecuted while they're targeting with the U.S. military. Understand that, and they're all by themselves. The government has provided evidence against them. That's what's happening. And the entity that stalks you by helicopter at the fake church is the one that is prosecuting, giving me evidence that they are indeed hitting me as gang stalkers and not hitting me as private citizens. There's a difference. When you're a terrorist engaging in battery on behalf of the state, you're going to prison. When you're a private citizen engaging in what is an accidental battery, however you want to claim it, even if you intentionally hit me, that's a difference. You're going to prison for gang stalking and engaging in what is battery. That's what they are accomplishing. And I'm going to continue to go here because this is the entity that's harassing. And this is why they're going to be defunded, and that's why they're going to prison. And this is where you need to know that the demons are dwelling, and this is where you need to know that the criminals are at. That's why the Lord God had me go to the library, had me go to the fake churches, to be outside amongst those that are sharing. They're equally criminal, equally psychotic, equally a threat. All right, that's what's relevant, because you need to know the commoners are engaging, and by commoners I mean it's not just the public officials. They can't do it without the violent terrorists that fill the state. They're all demons, and they're exceedingly violent psychopaths that are bloodthirsty, and they engage in together terrorizing someone, and the entity has provided evidence against them. I'm going to prosecute every single last one of them with a body of evidence. You are not an individual. You are not a private citizen. That is not private property. You are in fact a third party, and you're being prosecuted as a terrorist. That's the POC. It is currently 6:10 p.m.